Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker. This is WP Watercooler, episode number 126. Today we're going to be talking about analyzing your analytics. All about stats today. Let's go around the room here real quick and get everyone introduced. We're going to start with Gahlord. Tell us about yourself.
Gahlord. I am Gahlord. I'm the president and janitor of Thoughtfaucet. I do strategy consulting and a ton of analytics, and that's why I'm hanging out with you guys today.
Awesome. Good to have you. How about you, George?
Hi, I am George Stefanis. I am the team lead for this little project called Jetpack, and one of the things we do, amongst others, is analytics. I also am a community organizer, run WordCamps, and build shiny things.
Sweet. What about you, Sarah?
Hi, I'm Sarah Weefald. I am the production manager at Zeek Interactive, and I run the OC WordPress design meetup first Monday of every month.
Awesome. What about you, Say?
Hello, my name is Say Reed, and I make WordPress, do WordPress, teach WordPress at Say Reed Media on all the things. Kiss, kiss, mwah, mwah. Coming to Idaho, by the way. If anyone's in Idaho, coming to Idaho March 26th.
Did I miss a segue?
No, I just thought I'd let people know before me in Idaho in 2 weeks.
Say has fans all over the place.
Fans, bitches. No, I don't, but I want some. We can make more. So if anyone's in Idaho, I'll be hanging out in Boise.
Making fans.
With your boys?
What about you, Suzette?
No, they're all here.
Hello, everybody. I'm Suzette Franck. I am a WordPress evangelist, web designer, and developer, and a teacher with Girl Develop It. And I love WordPress.
Awesome. What about you, Steve?
I am Steve Zehngut. I'm the founder of Zeek Interactive, and I run the OC WordPress meetup.
Sweet. I'm Jason Tucker. I blog over at WPmedia.pro, and I'm on Twitter, Jason Tucker. So
Google Hangout has changed again because now when I talk, I can see myself, but it didn't used to do that. It used to be you saw everybody. Never mind. It's confusing.
Wait, so you like to watch yourself?
That was not a self-centered comment. It was a technology comment. Not a narcissist.
When my Google Hangout.
I was going to
play one on TV.
all day.
Sorry, Jason, I cut you off.
No, that's all right.
Watch anybody else. When I Google Hangout, I watch myself.
I didn't do that. I just want to point that out. It's not me.
Wow.
So anyway, we have a real expert on today. We should probably use that instead of just jibber-jabbering all over the place.
Congratulations, Gahlord. You are getting used.
I gotta tell you, I'm actually really excited to have Gahlord on today. This is a guy I've known for several years. We've collaborated on many projects. We've spoken at conferences together. He's a genius. He's a genius. So with that,
we don't get those on here often. So if you want to just talk the whole time,
what's the topic today, Jason?
Today we're going to be talking about analytics and stats and stuff.
Analyzing your analytics. Double analytics.
How you can
Gahlord, I was looking at your website. I was watching the video that you have on there where you're kind of describing, the process of you going from having your client come in and talk and hang out and showing them, how the stats are going to help them out and stuff. Tell us a little bit about that, like that conversation there of like, what is a stat? Why am I looking at this stuff? Why is it important?
Yeah, this is classic. So, in analytics, people typically get bogged down in like, what is it? Analytics is a weird word to begin with. It's like this obnoxious word that doesn't make any sense. So, you want to start by just thinking about the business side of it. Like that's really the big deal. That most people come in, they're like, oh, I want to look at the analytics and figure out what my bounce rate is, or they have all these different numbers that don't make any kind of sense in relation to their business. So that's like where it starts, is figuring out for your own business what actually matters before you even dig around with particular stat tracking stuff. So that's really
kind of the case for everything. It's like before you do anything, figure out your stuff.
Yes.
What?
Right? It's just
that's
what
crazy.
does it matter all that stuff, right? What do you want people to do on your website? Let them do it, and then measure whether they're doing it or not. That's the core.
So now we can just talk about ice cream for the rest of the episode, I think. Because I'm done. Drop the mic. Or the mouse pen. Drop the mouse pen.
It's true.
It's true.
Well, but historical trends are a very important thing to get tracking of. So, I mean, if you have something that's aggregating all the data, and then you can pull it out again in the future to actually run regression analysis or run whatever sort of information you need to find out where you've been to get your baseline for setting goals going forward, that's also very important. So, I don't care what tool you use to actually aggregate your data, but just make sure that it's developer friendly and it's very open data, so it'll actually give you your data back out, and it won't say, no, your data's in here and you can only have the information part that we want back to you.
That actually really pissed me off about, I think it was last year, Google Analytics, they stopped giving out like the keyword, the keyword tool and whatnot, and I was evil.
I was so sad that day.
I was too. The thing was, I was always okay with Google taking all the data because I was like, well, at least they're sharing the data back. So now we can use it and everyone can use it. So I was like, all right, great. And then they're like, just kidding. You can't use the data. You can't even see the data. And now I'm angry.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome to the world of the. There's things you could do though to deal with that. They aren't perfect.
And they're not Google Trends. Let's just be clear.
What's that?
Said it's not Google Trends what you can do to deal with that.
No, it isn't. But
maybe you can post about it on your Google Plus account.
Right.
So what can you do?
Well, you could, a lot of it for tracking where they come from on a particular keyword, you can look at specific pages on your site, filter it down to just organic traffic, just landing pages. So you get to see what page of your site people are landing on. It's not the same as a keyword, but if you've done a good job of organizing all your content, you can look at the organic traffic landing on the various pages of your website and make a pretty good assumption on, these people are landing on my page about blue widgets from Google. It's the first page, and so they're probably interested in my blue widgets. So thinking about, you end up having to back it up. They are. And you've got to back it up from information architecture. You look at every page as like a fishing lure. The first thing, like when you log into Google Analytics, is don't look at that dashboard page because it's got all kinds of metrics that don't mean anything. Like your bounce rate for the whole site doesn't mean anything unless you're doing a redesign. Whatever your traffic, I guess that kind of matters, but it's not related to what you're doing as a marketer, so it doesn't actually help you make decisions. There's nothing on that dashboard that makes any sense at all for helping you.
So if you're a newbie, then what would? Sorry.
Yeah. Go for it, Suzette.
Jetpack site stats.
Yay! No, besides, like if you are a newbie looking at Google Analytics, what is something that you can look at? Because people do look at the bounce rate because it's on the front page and they just assume that everything on the front page is going to be important things.
Yeah, you got to tell them to get away from that. If you're not doing a site redesign, don't look at the bounce rate, right? All the bounce rate can tell you is, do I need to do a site redesign, right? And if you aren't going to do that, get off of that page. If you want to look at a bounce rate, look at it for specific landing pages, right? So find what page is bouncing the most people, right? It's going to be your home page, so if you're not going to redesign your home page, move along to the next page. And then look at that page and say, why are people landing here, barfing, and going away? Why are they doing that? And you can change the headline.
That's the question I always ask myself after the weekends are over.
If you're not going to make a change, bounce.
So there's at least two other things that are really worth looking at in depth. First is search terms on your site. So if someone's using your internal site search, it's good to have a good idea what they're searching for, so attempt to duplicate those searches and make sure they're actually getting useful results. You can do some really cool stuff with, if someone searches for a specific term, you can say, I'm expecting you to search for this, I'm going to redirect you right to the product you're actually looking for. And another tremendously useful thing you can do is track down when they're viewing a 404 page. So you never know how many times someone's getting like the WordPress 404 page because they're following an old link that you might not realize folks are still linking to externally. So analytics can be fantastic both for tracking search terms folks are using on your site and then links to dead pages so that you can capture those and send them directly to something that will be very useful to have them on.
Yeah, I agree.
I didn't follow any of that.
You didn't follow any of that.
I'm joking.
I didn't either. I'm sorry.
Like, I don't blog. I don't know anything about this stuff. I just make apps. Whatevs.
There's one interesting.
Go ahead.
People run small websites. If you're running a smaller website that's not, like, say you're just starting and you're starting to ramp up traffic, there's a thing that goes around, like this is a great one on a security level. There's some really crazy exploits of Google Analytics going on where they pump up crappy traffic into your data, right? So if you've got
Buttons
a lot of
for website.
might not be noticing this, but they'll be putting in these kind of like, it's like spam stuff, and it's so you'll see like people arriving usually from a referral that doesn't make any sense. And
from ViagraSalus.com.
No, from buttons for website. Has everyone seen this on their stats? I've been seeing it over the last 2 months. I've seen buttons for websites, like
buttons for
everybody's
websites.
sites.
That's a classic one, right? And so as soon as you click on that, because you're the webmaster, you look at it and you go, oh, well, I should see who's linking to me, and you click on it, and it leads you to some spam link. And they also know that their spam link to you worked, right? And there's really no way to get rid of that. That's the other thing that's like, it's a really clever hack. You can do some filtering on it, and it's some nerdy stuff, but you have to go in and filter out by like network providers, or else just give up Russia. That's the other thing. You just block all of Russia.
Shouldn't we just do that in general?
Yeah.
And that's something that
Probably, but if you've got, depends on if you're
Solidarity.
money or not.
Yeah, I'm honestly surprised that Google hasn't been doing more to actually filter and catch those. I know it's something that we've had a lot of trouble with internally with WordPress.com and Jetpack stats. We've started actually passing refer URLs through a Kismet to try and catch all the spam ones that just get forced through, so users don't have to deal with those. I'd be very shocked if Google didn't have at least something cooking on the back end to start killing those a little bit quicker.
They do. There's a setting you can set in your admin that'll get rid of all of the spam traffic that the Internet Advertising Bureau recognizes, but that's not enough. And I'm pretty certain that they're working on that as well. The technology, the way they do it though, is they don't ever actually visit your website. So people are always saying, well, how do I get them to not come to? They're never going to your website in the first place. So they're just pulling the cookie. They're pulling your code off. They're scraping your code off your page and then pulling it that way. So it's going to be a challenge for them to do it with like a smart filtering kind of mechanism. They're going to have to actually compare it to a list. So.
Yeah, the internet. What was it you called it? The Internet Advertising Bureau. They sound like they're really quick moving. That sounds like a really, really on top of it organization. It sounds like they're doing well. Silent.
I missed all that.
So okay.
That's okay.
So
Connections are just.
So I want to ask, what analytics package should I be using? Is Google Analytics the only game in town? Should I be using Chartbeat? Should I be using something? Tell me.
Well, firstly, if you're using Jetpack already, you may as well have stats turned on in that.
Okay.
But apart from that, I'll pass over to Gahlord because he sounded like he had something very important to say that I cut him off on.
No, I think that as long as you have access to your data, which was brought up earlier, I think that's important. I usually tell people just go with Google Analytics because it's easy to deal with, and you can suck some data out of that. That's really where most people are going to go. Some people I know like Kissmetrics. That's kind of fun, but it really depends on your appetite for analytics, right? So most people can't deal with don't want to deal with a lot of different numbers. You set up a little Google Analytics dashboard and call it done. But if you want to get in depth, then you can do like if you're doing A/B testing and optimization of specific pages, then stuff like Crazy Egg could be useful. But it just depends on how often do you make changes to your website. Depends on how deep you want to go. At the cost level, Google Analytics is where most people end up because if you don't want to spend 10 grand or more a month, then you're probably going to be with Google Analytics.
And Google Analytics costs how much?
Your soul.
I mean, if you're moving on to like the stuff that Adobe pimps, whatever that used to be, they're going to be expensive packages.
But the point is for the audience is Google Analytics, besides your soul, is free.
Yeah. Who needs a soul?
Yeah. Right.
The music industry gave that up ages ago.
There's a tremendous amount of other tracking cookies that you can use for more specific purposes. Whether you're trying to track specific conversions, there's literally dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, of these services. And if you're running a larger business as a marketing department, they're probably gonna want to try it here and there. And at that point, you may want to look into something like Telium or Google Tag Manager or some other third-party tag manager. What those do is, instead of having to go in, modify your theme, add them every single time you want to add a new little tracking JavaScript snippet or something, you can just have it automatically do it based on URL rules, all from within their third-party dashboard. It can save a lot of time if you're properly versioning your theme and you want to be able to get new things in without going through a 2-week code review.
I thought the only tag manager I knew about was Tinder. I didn't know there was this other one. Telium. Yeah. Shazam! Wow. Sorry, I'm ready to do that whole thing. Yeah, I just want to point out I didn't interrupt you the whole time, and I was totally listening to everything that you said.
But Google Tag Manager will handle the same thing without having the additional cost, right?
Yes, but they don't have the enterprise support. So a lot of larger companies do still go with Telium just because if something goes horribly wrong, they have someone they can call and get immediate support from the company on. With Google, it'll work, but if something goes wrong, you're on your own.
Yes, correct.
As with most things in Google. And also Facebook.
It's also the internet.
It's just, it's all self-service. It's like nobody's interested in helping. Oh, fine.
It's
just here's all the statistics. Do with them what you will. We're not going to tell you what to do. We're not going to tell you what they mean.
That's exactly the problem. Is that you'll load up your analytics package, and if you haven't already figured out what you want people to be doing on your website, then opening up the analytics package isn't going to tell you that. So you want to do the thinking away from a computer screen, and then go to the computer screen and say, well, what numbers match up most closely to what I'm trying to do here?
I'm going to take that clip right there, and I'm going to just send that to all my clients.
I like to install Google Analytics.
Nothing.
Well, say that again, George?
A number without context means nothing. You need to look at all of them in light of the goals you're trying to accomplish.
47!
Those mean nothing, say. There's no context.
You mean nothing.
There's meaning. 24. 34.
42.
All of a sudden we've become lost.
It's important to do it. I mean things. I'm communicating.
What were those how lost our users and customers are in the sea of numbers if we, as their leaders, do not guide them. Oh, wow, I am becoming incredibly cheesy. I'm going to shut up now.
What were those lost metrics?
That's unusual.
So
I said 24 and 34.
So bringing us back on the track here a little bit here. So what's the what are the other players in this space that we should be looking at, or that people that are kind of figuring out, like, what's the best analytics software to use, or what's the best place I could find downloadable dashboards? I mean, I remember the Occam's Razor site. I don't remember the guy's name, but he has some really great stuff on his. Is that still relevant, or what else is there that's out there?
All the stuff that Avinash Kaushik talks about on Occam's Razor is good. There's also a friend of mine, Justin Catroni, who works in a similar capacity to what Avinash used to do. So Justin Catroni's blog, and he's like at CUTROI on Twitter. Super genius of analytics. So if you want to get geeky, that's where you go.
We want to get geeky.
Starting out. Yeah, if you don't want to get geeky, then stay away from the analytics and go do some other plugins or something like that.
Content marketing, yay! I think. Go ahead. You're talking about connections, whatever. I just wonder. I think it's pretty fascinating. People get so obsessed with analytics, even people who don't understand analytics. And, to me, it's kind of like we're in such a development phase with this, like Suzette said, wild, wild west, that these things, and talking about the numbers, they don't actually really necessarily mean anything. It's just different ways of analyzing stuff, and they're not necessarily helping people make better business decisions or on a general level. I think in big data, it definitely is.
there say is that the problem is at the decision-making level, because in terms of analytics and data, we've been doing this. This goes all the way back to the 50s, right? Marketing science stuff. So the methodologies and all that for dealing with this stuff has been around for a long time. Just nobody has taken the time to learn how to make decisions based on it outside of larger organizations. So that's really the problem is people are looking to an observation tool, which like an analytics, and expecting it to help them with their orientation or decision cycles, which it isn't. That's where the weakness is. So that's the problem.
I think it's also in the direct tying it to advertising, which is really what Google has done with AdWords. And I think that really loses kind of the element of kind of tracking data, because they put them so close together, people can't really differentiate. And they're like, my ad is my tracking. Has anyone seen the new Facebook ads and demographic insights? Anyone looked at that lately?
No.
They just introduced a whole nother level of demographics, so you can look at your pages and you can divvy up your pages with things like childless socialites and young and carefree, and like all this, like these crazy named, like these are serious names that they have for these demographics. It's kind of insulting, but I think that's kind of the direction that they're taking it now, from all these numbers that are like super geeky and like, it's kind of like geeks analyzing it, and now they're taking that and they're making it like super dumbed down, like advertised based stuff for people. And I feel like we should be somewhere in the middle, where we're dealing with numbers and not simplifying it to the point where it's like, how many wealthy socialites.
Yeah, if you let Facebook or Google or anybody that isn't yourself decide what's important for you, which is what they're doing. They're developing the personas, right? In good old-fashioned persona marketing, where I'm not going to advertise to customers. I'm going to advertise instead to like a wet dream of what the marketing department wants. If you're still letting Facebook do that for you, then and selling you the ads, you can see where the mismatch is. Sometimes it's probably not going to be right. And again, it all comes back to do your thinking away from the computer, and then go to the computer and find the stuff that fits. Because if you've got a screen on, your ability to think about these is going to be compromised.
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah,
think away from the computer.
Or just think in general.
I just had a chip implanted in my head. It does the thinking for me.
Yeah, right. And that's great. It makes for a really efficient ad spending.
Wow, we've got radio silence again.
No, I know. I was tweeting. It was just because you totally blew my mind with your statement. Do your thinking away from the computer, and I have to tweet it now. And like, so I'm sorry, I got distracted.
All of us are trying.
Let's just get up and walk away.
Like we're done. Just let them talk. Just let them talk. We've been doing that lately, letting people talk.
At analytics level, that really is the big problem, right? We look at all these numbers and we expect the numbers to tell us the answer, and they aren't. It's just observation. Right? There's a full process in conducting action, right? And it starts with observe. First, we have to see what's going on in the world, and analytics is great for that. After that, you orient stuff. You put things in context, and that analytics isn't so great at that. It's kind of there, but not really. And then we got to decide things. Analytics is no good there, and that's where the problem is. And then we have to actually do stuff based on the decisions. And some organizations have a really hard time with that. They'll make a decision, but they won't actually do anything about it. I'm sure none of you have ever encountered that.
No, that doesn't happen.
No.
Are you saying that there's some sites that I shouldn't even have analytics on?
Yeah, if you aren't going to make any changes, don't run analytics on it. Right?
See, I always think it's just handy. Like I set up all these folks' small business sites, and I just, out of habit, install analytics. And I figure the thing is like when you want analytics, you need the data, and if you don't do it before you need it, then you don't have any data. So I figure you got to set it up and let it run. And then when you're, ready to actually do it, that's great. Then you have something, whatever it comes from. So I think tracking is really important.
Yeah, no, it's definitely good. If you're setting up a site, go ahead and install the analytics. That's a good idea, because sooner or later someone's going to go to a conference and hear about Google Analytics, and they're going to want to get into this stuff. And at that point, it's nice to go back and look at data, right? And that happens every day. That happens every day. But if you're not going to make changes to your website, don't don't bother, don't bother looking at the analytics if you're not going to make any changes.
Right? I think a lot of the times,
decision make. If you don't have any decisions to make, don't waste your time on it. Go do something more productive.
I think you're right in that people are looking to that for answers, not just about data, but answers about what to do. Because I think it's like kind of like coming to a business meeting and being like, so what should I sell? It's like asking the question. Google's going to tell you who you should market to and why you should market to them and how you should market to them. And that's just really substituting doing some good work for, trying to get an easy answer. But like you said, Google Analytics is not doing that. And I think that's a fundamental misunderstanding of what the point is.
Yeah, you have to know like what you're looking for, right? Like you have to go, oh, I am running ads on Facebook. I should see if anybody's clicking on those ads and coming to my website, and then I should look and see, do they do the thing I want to do, right? Not just look at, are people coming or not, but actually follow it all the way through to, did they do the thing I want them to do? And,
Wait, so are you...
Sarah?
Sorry. So are you saying that people shouldn't just go chasing after whatever latest shiny object that they might find and then put it into their website?
They should. They should.
Thought into it?
It's like 150 plugins minimum should be installed on every WordPress.
Okay. Just for our audience that doesn't realize that's a sarcastic comment.
Hashtag sarcasm.
That's a sarcastic comment.
That gets you about halfway there.
So real quick, let's talk. Obviously, we like site stats. I use Google Analytics by Yoast for all of the sites that I do, just because I trust him as a developer to keep things current. Right. Really is a lot of what that is. And does anyone have any other? And then there's the Google Analytics dashboards. I don't bother with that. I love site stats for the in-dashboard stuff because that gives people that sense that, oh, people are coming, or oh, nobody's coming, and that kind of lights a fire under them. But I don't think you need Google Analytics in your dashboard. I think that's just going to freak people out in general. And what else do you guys use? Tech?
Google Analyticator is a really good one. Google Analyticator is a good plugin to add analytics. But I agree with you. I don't bother with the dashboards. I think it's just TMI. So I like what Jetpack Site Stats gives you. It's very nice.
Is there really? That's the thing. It's like if all you're doing is essentially, putting your code in all the pages with your Google Analytics plugin, then does it really at that point kind of even matter like which software you're using? Because
there's a difference with Jetpack Analytics. What we actually do is we have a understanding of the way WordPress stores data. So we actually store the views with the post, not necessarily the URL you're viewing it at. So if you're like scrolling through an infinite scroll page that's viewing full articles, that'll count as a view on that post. If you're viewing, if you change your permalink structure, it'll still carry the views over from one post from the old structure to the new structure.
That's awesome.
So there's a much deeper understanding of the data we're statting than just, oh, you're viewing this URL, I'm going to stat the URL and not the content.
I didn't actually know that. That's cool.
The other thing that's really cool about Jetpack Site Stats is that at the end of the year, they always put together like this page with the fireworks, and you get like a firework for each post. And it's like all animated and pretty and sparkly.
And can we talk about that? Really works for people, okay? Like we need the interface. Seriously.
People like shinies.
So yeah. Google, get on it.
Fireworks, it's a thing. Yeah, Google needs more fireworks.
Does it happen at Christmas or does it happen on July 4th? When are the fireworks?
On January 1st, I think.
New Year's.
You don't see those, Steve, because you don't blog.
You're in blogging.
So you know you're gonna get a little.
I get fireworks. I get fireworks every decade.
it's your
On that note.
That is about it for today.
Thanks, Gahlord. You're awesome.
He is awesome, dude.
Yay! Thanks, Gahlord.
So
Why Analytics Don't Matter by the Water Cooler. Okay, sorry, that's what the name of this episode
Make sure you go to our website at WPwatercooler.com and you can subscribe over there. You can also go over to our Facebook page and follow us there, and we do the Twitters. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jason.
Peace out.
Kiss.